Welcome to Tech Brothers with Amir. In this video, we are going to learn how to load multiple CSV files to different tables according to the file names. So what we have here, let me show you a scenario, and then we are going to perform a demo. Here we have a storage, and in our storage we have different containers, but we have input and log container here. Here is my input container. Input container contain multiple files. Some of them start with the EMP address, employee test. You can have different names as well. Doesn't have to be starting with the EMP, but I have these fours for the demo purpose. Let's take a look on the EMP file and see what column it has. It has the EMP ID, EMP name. The other files pretty much have the same thing. EMP address has the three columns. The let's see, it has email, EMP ID, EMP name, and address. So your file can have many columns as you required, for different files. So that's fine. And here these files have two columns. So what we would like to do, we would like to create the tables according to the file name. So if there are multiple scenarios there. You can reload to the existing tables, or you can create the table according to the file name. So it depends, according to your scenario. In my case, what I'm going to do first, I will create the tables on the first run, and on the second run, what we will do, we will load the data to the existing tables. So it will create the table such as EMP. It will create the table EMP address. It will create the table employee. It will create a table EMP test. So the date and extension part will be removed. So if you would like to keep the date, it is okay. So in the expressions, you can write that. I'm going to show you how to write the expressions. Now, where this data will be loaded. So what we have here, I'm going to go to the Azure here. Let me go to the SQL. And we have SQL Server here. And actually, let's not connect from here. I already have a connection with the SSMS. So here is my Azure server, and this has a database called the TechbrothersIT. And tables, there are two tables already existing there, but new tables will be created. So you can refresh, and it should show you the existing tables. So only two tables are there. Okay, so let's go to tables, and we see that there are only a couple of tables. Now what we are going to use here to load this CSV files to the this SQL database, that's going to be our Azure Data Factory. So let's open the Azure Data Factory, and here what we are going to do, we are going to create a new pipeline. So you will go to the pipelines here, click a new pipeline. Let's give a proper name. So load multiple tables, that's our pipeline name. And now what we are going to do, we first of all we need to read the list of those files, or we need to get the names of those files. So what we can use, we can use a metadata activity here. So get metadata activity will work for us. It's going to get all the lists of the files, and then we can use in our for each loop. Here you're gonna go to the data set and provide where exactly your files are. So I'm going to hit new, and I'm gonna go to blob here and continue. I'm gonna read them as CSV or delimited files. Okay, now that's you can call it whatever you want to name it. So let's call it get metadata. Okay, so and which link service it will use. Now there are already link services I have created for this blob, but I would like to create new so you can see how it works. So I'm going to call this one BLB and input. So this will tells us like, okay, this goes to the input folder, or actually keep it to the BLB storage, because we are not even going to point to the input right here in this linked service. So choose the subscription, choose the account, and that's all. You see that I did not choose any input or output or any other folder here. So let's create this one. Now here it is asking you provide me the file path, provide me the container, directory, and file name. So I'm going to browse and select the container here. So our input folder is our container. That's where our files are. Okay, first we are not really interested. The first row has header and all those kind of things, and import schema we can hit none and hit OK, because our goal is to get the list of the file names. So here, which field list you would like to get, I'm going to hit a new, and here in the drop down I'm gonna select child items. Okay, this will give us a list of all the file names, and then we can use further in our activities. What's next activity? That's gonna be our for each. That's favorite loop we always use in SSIS. Pretty much works same here. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna connect them. So in the for each loop, we are saying go to settings, and here which items you would like to choose. I'm gonna select here and add dynamic content. Okay, so here we have these expressions in the SSIS. We have written a lot of expression in such as derived column and all that. These are kind of same, but these are not really great because these can't be evaluated. So you don't see that evaluate button here. But anyways, what we are going to do here, we are going to use the get metadata output. So once you click here, it's going to show you, okay, at the rate activity get metadata one, that's the name of our activity name, and then output. And what we would like to get in the output, child items. Okay, so that's all we need. Once we have provided this list of these child items, we have for each loop is going to loop through, right? So we are going to go further in right here, click on pencil sign, and it will take you inside of a for each loop. Now you see that here is our pipeline, here is our for each sorry, here is a yep, so that's where our this is how it is. So get metadata, then you have for each loop, and once you click here, it will take you further inside the for each loop. Now inside the for each loop, I'm going to go ahead and use the copy activity again. So I really love a copy activity much. It has a lot of features, So anyways, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the sync, and here I'm creating a data set. Click new, and you guys know that I have to read the data from the blob storage because that's where my files are. So CSV files, and here I can name whatever I would like to give us. So I'm going to call it input files or file. Okay, select the link service. So you guys remember that blob storage, so we can use that. And now here we have to provide the path. So select the input folder. Now it is asking like you want to provide some file name here. We can leave that as it is, but okay, first row as header, yes, because depending on that header row our table will be created. So the column names will be exactly the same what our header will be. Now we are going to hit none and hit OK. Now, what we would like to do here, as the file names are going to be changes, they will be changing. We have to use some parameter and pass that. Right now, I did not provide any file name, so I'm gonna go back to the open, and here it give me a lot more details about connection, about options on connection, schema, parameters, and tons of data. So I'm going to go to the parameters, and here I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to use a file name parameter, and I don't have to provide any value here. And what you need to do in the connection, here use that parameter. So, and I'm saying use this parameter in the name right here in the file name, right? So what we will do now, we will go back and provide the value to this parameter in our pipeline. So after creating the parameter here, we use that file name parameter here in the file name, and we have to go back to our pipeline. Here is my pipeline, and what I'm going to do, see, this parameter got appeared here. So how I'm going to pass the value to this parameter? Remember, we have those items. So for each loop is going to loop through those items. So here for each loop, and it's having the list of the items, and what we need from there, name. Okay, so that's where it's going to work great. And what's going to happen, it's going to read those file names and provide one by one, and now we have to load them. Go to sync now, and here we will be creating a data set for our destination. So you guys remember that we have to load these files to the Azure database. So let's do Azure SQL, and here is our Azure SQL database. Now I can give it some name, say Azure DB, and here is gonna be which link service you would like to use. I have already linked services that's pointing to that server, but I would like to create new so you can see how exactly it works. So I will call TechbrothersIT link service, And now you choose a subscription, choose a server name, and then here choose your database, and here you are going to provide a username. So I have a username TB user, and then a password. This test connection looks like password wrong because I know that I was making a mistake. So test is connection is tested successfully. Now we are hitting in a create. It's going to create a connection to our Azure SQL database. Now what we need to do, we have to provide a table name. So I'm going to leave this one as it is for now because I do not know the table name, because table name has to come from the for each item.name. Okay, hit OK, and same thing what we did in the source, same thing what we are going to do here. So I'm going to go to open again, and here I know that I need a parameter. So I'm going to go to the parameter here. I'm going to call the parameter called table name. So this table name will come from our for each loop. Now what we are going to do, we are going to go back here, and in the table name I'm going to provide, say, okay, use the table name, and hit right here, and sorry, cancel this out, and what you need to use the table name. I'm going to click on edit, and here is your schema name if you want, but in my case I am okay with schema DBO. So if you have a different schema you can provide that, and here is your table name. Now add dynamic contents here, and remember that this parameter we have to map, so we are mapping a table name parameter here. Now we have to go back to our pipeline, and this parameter will appear right under it, and it is asking, okay, from the which value you would like to use for this parameter. And remember we have used for each loop and dot name. Now if I will use the item.name as it is, what's going to happen? It's going to use these file names and create the table of exactly the same name, and it is okay. So it's just gonna be fun. So let's do that, and then we can drop and come back and do some more modification in the expressions, and show you how you can remove different like .txt and the data from there. So now in the store procedure name, I don't have any store procedure, so I'm gonna hit none, and here is your option, auto create table. If my table is already created, what's going to happen, I can just leave this one to none, and it will map automatically. But in my case I don't have any table for now, so I'm going to say auto create table. Now we are all good. This is simple pipeline. I will say this is a very actually beautiful thing. In just 10 minutes you are able to achieve so much and do really great things. Hit debug, and it's going to take all those files, get the list of those files names in the get metadata information. Now once it's going to pass to the for each, and then for each is going to take one file name and pass to the copy activity, and that's where it's going to create a new table, load the file, and that's it. Awesome. So you see that it all got completed and all successful. So first of all, get metadata. Let's go through this one and see what it brings us. So it has a list of those child items. Remember that? So that's what it got, and that we use in the for each loop. Now in the for each loop here, if you see that name, remember items.name, we've been using that. So this is the property we've been using in our for each. Okay, so in the for each, what happened? It got 4 items, and next, what happened for each of the 4 items, 4 files, it loaded that data. So you can see that the 2 rows read, 2 rows are written, and a lot more details are there. Now let's go to the SSMS where we are connected with our Azure database, and see how exactly our table look like. This could be fun when you are using, you want to create the table with the exact name. So maybe you have .txt file, .csv files and all those, but they are a comma delimited file, and you loaded them and you just created all of them as it is. So you see right there. So this is exact name of our file. So right click here and go to the select top 1000 or whatever. It's gonna have some rows for you. So it loaded the data. Now let's go to the employee address because I want to show it can load the data with different columns. So here you have 3 columns. right there, employee ID, emp name, and address. This is fantastic. And now what we are going to do, we are going to go, we are fine with these. We can leave these guys as it is, because now our goal is to do a little more better way or different way. In this case, what we want to do, we want to go to the for each, go to the copy, and then here where it says item.name, I don't want the table to be exactly like my file name. So I have the option. So what options I have? So there are multiple options I have. Maybe I would like to do in case maybe I want to replace a .txt. So I can write something like this. So concat at the rate concat and say replace. Sorry. One of the things I still need to understand honestly, as of now, I don't really understand. In my previous experience on SSIS, this is exactly I will do replace, and then we take the item dot name and comma and the dot txt, and then put a single quotes around comma and a single quote. I tried this, but this did not work. I believe you have to wrap this whole thing around at the another function called the concat, and that will generate this string for inside. So in this case, if you see that what I'm doing here, let me see if I can just copy and paste it here. So something like this. See right there. So I'm replacing in the item.name, I'm replacing the .txt with the single nothing. So that should work. In SSIS, I mean this is how it was supposed to be. But here I tried this one, it didn't work. So I was reading through some of the blogs, and people has written at the rate concat. So it means you put concat around this whole thing and it work. Another one. So if you wanna just remove this .txt, this is the one of the way. And if you want to remove everything right after underscore of your file name, so this is another expression you can write. So here, see, these all files has underscore and then have number. So you can use something like this in the expressions that I showed you here. So you are using substring, and then you have item dot name comma 0 starting from the very left, and then last index of item dot name where it has a underscore. So you are using that one, and then finally you are writing this. It's pretty good here. If you use notepad plus plus, it shows you where the curly where the parentheses should close and open, so you can see that. But still I tried this without this whole thing, because at the rate concat wasn't really making sense to me. But anyways, I just want to tell you guys that this is how it is. So in the I will put in the description, so you can copy and paste and play with it. And meanwhile, maybe it will take me some time to figure out at the rate concat is required or not, but you can write it for now. So let's go back and do this one. So I'm going to copy this guy, already copied. So what I'm doing, I'm removing everything right after where it start underscore. Now I'm right here. I'm going to paste this expression. It would be great if this expression will be able to evaluate here. So you click a small button, say evaluate expression, and it evaluate to something, and but it's not. So it's very difficult to even write these expressions. I'm not really liking this very much, and I might get used to it slowly. And but it is good to have that expression evaluation button here. Anyways, not a big deal. Finish, and now we are all good here. What you can do, you are gonna go ahead and debug. Once you debug, it's gonna read those files again, and the list of the files will be read, the names, and then pass to the for each, and for each is gonna read all of them in the one after one, and then pass to the copy activity. So in the inside the copy activity, those all the file will be created, the tables will be created, and then files will be loaded. Now looks like it's done. So if we go back here and we see that everything is all done, and now sorry, I don't want to reload it, so let's cancel this out. So if it'll give me a chance to cancel it, I'm going to cancel. It's not giving me a chance to cancel it. Anyways, so while it's doing that one, I'm going to open the SSMS and I'm going to refresh the list of the tables, and then you are going to see the tables, just the first part of that file name. You're not going to see the date, time, and then you're not going to see .txt with it. So You see this beautiful tables all are there. So these are the tables created just now. So right click here, and then it's taken some time. Okay, so you select, and then that's it. The data is there. So we have loaded multiple times, so that's why the data is there, and here if I go to the EMP address, you can select the data, and it should work just fine. So you can see that I have ran multiple times. That's why the data came. So you understand from now, like it will create the table if it is not there, and if it is there, you can it will keep loading the data. There is so much you can do here. You don't have to be just like this reload. Before the reload, you might want to truncate it. Here, if you want to truncate it, you are gonna write the expression, at the rate concat, and then but you will write, so you will say truncate table, and then you're gonna do right there, and then you put a comma, and item, and then let's use item dot name here. Okay, dot name, something like that. Okay, so this is how you will write these all the expressions and everything. So that's this expression will concat the table, and then it will create auto create. You don't have to create it if it is already there. So you write just truncate and load the data. So there's tons of other things you can do, play with the parameters. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope this video will help. And I have seen a lot of scenarios where people have different type different files with the different lists of the columns and the different names, and they would like to create a table for each of the file and load to it. And and this is really this was one of the scenario I wanted to get to it and share with you guys. So go ahead and subscribe my channel if you guys like my videos and like my effort, and I will see you guys in the next video.